Hey, it's Adia Monet and I'm back with another video. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also turn on post notifications so you can be notified of my next post. So, as you can tell by the title, today I am doing a book review. If you guys have watched my previous video about my ins and outs for 2024, I did mention that I wanted to get back into reading and that I was starting off my year by reading at least one book a month. So my book of the month for January was Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, and I had a great time reading this book. It took me a while to finish reading this book, y'all. I've been reading this book for months on end because I've just been very inconsistent with like reading and, you know, just staying concentrated. Like I just couldn't concentrate for too long. I don't know, my attention span is kind of wacky, I'm not gonna lie, but nonetheless I got the book done and I got it done in time to do this book review. Now, this is my first time ever doing a book review. I have not done a book report or anything like that since freshman year of college. So it's been a minute. I'm gonna try my best, but there's so much to cover within this book that I am super excited to talk about. I was just so happy that I was finished with this book. I actually went to go buy this book with one of my friends. We went to Barnes & Nobles to go get it, and she finished it way before me. Like, she finished it within that month. I started with her. I started reading with her. I swear I did. But like I said, my attention span is just not there. And I've always been a reader. I always love reading in books. I collect books for a living. Like, that's what I like to do. I like to collect books, vinyls, all that stuff. But I read half of the book and then I jump to the next one as soon as I buy another book. So I have to work on that. But she told me that the book was excellent and that once I'm done reading the book, we need to have a discussion. I'm sorry, girl. We can have our discussion now, though. Without further ado, we can get into the book review. I'm gonna try not to be too long-winded on like certain topics because there is a lot to cover. There's so much that like I wanted to say about the book while reading it. I should have took down notes. That's one, I guess, correction I can make for myself, is that for the next book, I need to make notes in chronological order just because I like to be organized. And I'm gonna just give y'all a disclaimer right now. I might be all over the place, but we're gonna get to the point. And y'all are gonna know how I feel about this book. And also, if you have not read the book yet, disclaimer, there is gonna be a bunch of spoilers. This is a spoiler alert. The whole video is about to be a spoiler. So if you didn't finish reading the book, if you're halfway through, or if you haven't even cracked it open yet and you wanna know how it is, right now I'm just telling you it's really good, and go finish reading it before you finish this video. Just a little summary about the book. So this book is about a divorced couple. The main characters' names are Yasmin and Josiah, and they are coexisting with each other as business partners of their beloved restaurant, Grits, and they're also co-parenting as they have two kids, Deja and Kasim. It's like, I can't really get rid of you. Even though we're divorced, you're just in my life 24/7, basically. And although it seems like there is no hope or chance that they will ever get back together, they're both starting to like sit with their feelings. And it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since they've divorced. They're starting to sit within their feelings, face them, and think about whether or not trying again would be worth it. Would it be in their best interest, you know? Especially with all that has happened within the past. The book is told from two perspectives. Like I said, there's two main characters, Jasmine and Josiah, and I love that it gives you a like feel of both a woman and a man's perspective. Like, it just goes in depth of how women's emotions work and how men's emotions work and how they differ, how they perceive life differs in the way they choose to like evaluate and take action on different situations. And what I love about how the book is told in two different perspectives is that reading Josiah's point of view really gives the female reader a better understanding of how men's brains work for real. Like, in instances where like women might be overthinking and thinking to themselves, oh, this boy doesn't even care. Like, he doesn't feel the same way I feel, because they don't outwardly express their feelings the way we do. In their brains, they're thinking something completely different. They're not even thinking the way we think that they're thinking. Does that make sense? I really appreciated having both perspectives. I felt myself a lot more eager to read his point of view more than Yasmin's, because like, I'm a girl. I already know how you feel. I could relate to you, girl. I know how you're feeling, but how does he feel? I'm trying to know what's tea. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I could describe this book within a couple of words, I would describe it as very romantic, sexy, emotional, and just a great, beautiful love story. And if you guys are into second chance romance, which I very much am into, then this is the book for you. Second chance romance stories are just so, you know, they just warm my heart. I just be like, yo, follow your heart, yo. Go where your heart is telling you to go. If your heart is telling you to go back to that man. So now that we have the summary of the book, I'm just gonna go into both of the characters and just evaluate them a little bit, what I liked about them, what I disliked about them, or like some quotes that really struck me. First up is Yasmin. You know, that's our girl. That's our girl. She's kind of like the main character. And then it's Josiah. Even though they're both the main characters, like, we hear from her point of view a lot more than Josiah's. So yeah, but what I can say about my girl Yasmin is that she is a very emotional girl on the inside, but she doesn't outwardly express that. And I feel like I can 1000% relate to her. Like, I felt like while reading this book, although like, y'all, of course I'm not married and I did not go through a divorce, but like, I could relate to her. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, I'm here with you. Like, everything you're explaining that you're feeling, I get it, bro. I get it. All of it except for like battling with depression. I'm not depressed, but like, I can only imagine how somebody may feel, especially with what she's went through. She's 2 years post the divorce, trying to co-parent with her husband, well, ex-husband, that she still loves and does not know what to do with that emotion. There's nowhere that she can express that because it would be highly inappropriate. And she doesn't know if he feels the same way as well. And it's kind of hard for her to move on because like, it's been 2 years. She hasn't been speaking to anybody or seeing anybody since her ex-husband. So like, she's kind of just like in her head about everything. She also doesn't feel like she deserves love in a sense, or love at least from her ex-husband. That's because she was the one who initiated the divorce because of her processing her grief during that time in their life. Since then, she has been going to therapy and taking medication and stuff to ultimately get better, and she has been working on getting better. She's been hanging out with friends more and stuff like that, all things that will just like help with mental health. But you know, there's always a corner in the back of your mind that's thinking about somebody and you wish it would go away. You wish you could just get over this person, but it's just like, it's hard. It's really hard because they have such a strong connection. It's a connection that like you don't really come across a lot of the time. Like, it's very rare. Once you got it, you better keep it. And she kind of feels dumb that she let it go. She let it go because her and Josiah were expecting another child 2 years ago, and they were super excited about it. The baby's name was gonna be Henry, another baby boy. And you know, I guess her dream was to just have like a big family and, you know, have kids with her man. Like, who doesn't want to build a family with the love of their life? You know, and although they already have 2 kids, it's just like she wants to keep adding on to their family. She wants to experience life with him and just, you know, be happy. But something very unexpected happened while Josiah went on a trip. She was closing up at their restaurant, Grits, and they had like a floorboard that was supposed to be fixed, but nonetheless, it was not fixed. And she ended up tripping on it, falling, and she had a miscarriage from that. And it's not that she felt resentment for him not being there within that moment, because she kind of like told him like, it's okay, go on the trip, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, he was iffy, like, should I go? I don't want to leave you here with the baby and stuff. And he told her to go home, like, don't close up. But, you know, sometimes us women, we be stubborn. Like, I could do it. Even though my belly is full, yes, what about it? I'ma still do it because I'm a strong Black woman. That's how she felt. But like, girl, you can't do everything. So she fell, and when she got to the hospital and had to like deliver the baby was not alive. And it was a very traumatic experience for her. And any woman who has to go through that, having a miscarriage or a stillborn and stuff like that, it's not a pleasant experience, especially with how far they've gotten within the pregnancy journey. They had the room set up and all that stuff. And she just put her all into this pregnancy. She even put like a Bible verse on the wall of their nursery just to like welcome the baby and bring him into love. And to have that taken away, it felt bad. And she became immediately depressed. And not only did she have a miscarriage, but one of their beloved family members, Bird, passed away as well. And she was working for them at their restaurant as well. She's the person that basically raised Josiah after his parents died. Both of his parents died in a car accident, and he lived with her ever since. And Bird treated Jasmine like a daughter, you know? She was very near and dear to the family. She was very near and dear to the workers at Grits. And to just keep her legacy going, they, you know, would still use her recipes and stuff like that, because she was such a great chef. You know, I wish I could taste her food the way they was explaining it. That's 2 back-to-back losses, and she didn't know how to process it. So, you know, she went down a dark hole. When she was grieving, she went all in. My girl, she couldn't even function. And I feel bad. I feel really bad for her. But like, within a marriage, somebody has to keep the boat afloat. You know what I mean? So Josiah was the one like kind of carrying everything on his back, like the business and taking care of his kids and stuff like that. But within that, he wasn't really showing his emotions and how he felt about both losses. He lost the person that raised him when his parents were no longer there. He lost his son that was about to come into the world. And she felt like, why aren't you grieving the way I'm grieving? Why are you acting like everything is okay? When you see me, I'm clearly sinking ship. I'm clearly losing my mind, and you're acting like nothing happened. And it frustrated her. So like, she divorced him. She divorced him in a period where her emotions were very high and she wasn't thinking straight. She thought that was the best option in that moment. As you like read throughout the book, you can see like why she did that. She kind of like put herself first. Of course, she wanted to save her marriage, but like, it was between saving my marriage and saving myself. If I can't save myself, how am I supposed to be well within this marriage? How am I supposed to be good for you? How am I supposed to be good for my kids? I can only do so much while I'm feeling this way. So she divorced him. But like, the way she did it was kind of like crazy. The way the whole day went, the flashback went, it was kind of a crazy day, y'all. It was. And what was like the icing on the cake for her, for real, is when like they were having an argument, right? And Yasmin wanted to have another kid. So in the midst of them arguing, she tried to seduce him. And he wasn't like feeling it for her. He was like, what are you trying to do? And she's like, I want another baby. but the doctor already told her she can't really do that because she'll be having a very high risk pregnancy, and her chances of the baby like not surviving the pregnancy will be even higher than the one she just had. He wasn't trying to go for it. And bada bing bada boom, long story short, he kind of ruined the room a little bit. And that was just what set her off. And she was like, I want a divorce. And he was like, so you don't love me no more? And she couldn't even answer the question. So like she kicked him out. He moved out and went to Bird's old house. And that was that. Fast forward 2 years later, she's regretting it. And she's heavily regretting it because she sees her man. I'm gonna just keep calling him her man because that's her man. She saw her man move on to some girl named Vashti. She was like, who is this? Who is this? Vashti? First of all, I thought this whole little shebang was inappropriate. Vashti was a chef at Grits. As a man, why are you dating your employee? I don't like that. So, she saw their whole little couple situation and she decided, let me move on too. Let me move on to this man named Mark. And Mark is a white man. She said she gonna get pasta and lobster, what? But girl, let's be for real. You can make your own pasta and lobster and go get your man back. You can make pasta and lobster for your man. She didn't even want Mark for real. She didn't even want Mark. She was trying to make him jealous. And it worked. It did. But like, that part kind of irritated me. She didn't even want Mark for real, but she felt like she had to get her lick back, even though there was no lick back to get. Like, he was in a committed relationship. She was just dating around. She was just trying to, make him jealous. And that part irritated me. I was just like, girl, be for real, like, whatever. But what could I do? I'm just the reader. That part I wasn't really feeling, because I'm for Black love, right? That's why I have this book, because I love a Black love story. And then another thing about Yasmin that really like surprised me is she revealed that she was battling with like harmful thoughts while she was grieving. And that's kind of what I meant previously in the video, that like she had to do what she had to do back in the day when she divorced her man, because she was in a constant battle with herself. Her mental health was deteriorating and she was trying to stay alive for real. That kind of broke my heart because like what she was going through was a lot. I'm glad that she got better and did all that she needed to do. So that was Yasmin. I'm gonna get into more details about the book later, but we're gonna get into Josiah and things I liked about him, things I didn't like, etc., etc. What I didn't like about Josiah is that he tried to act like he wasn't feeling my girl Yasmin. He was really like, he was putting on a show for real, y'all. Like the entire book. Well, not the entire book, but like on the outside, you would think he did not like her at all. He wouldn't even look her in the face, guys. Like, she'll be looking at him trying to have a conversation and he'll just be staring off in the distance, or like just not making any excuse to not have eye contact with her. He was gonna use. I didn't like that. Like, let's grow up. As I stated previously, Josiah lost both of his parents while he was young. They were in a car accident and he was taken in by his aunt Bird, who raised him for the rest of his life. Well, not the rest of his life, but like the majority of his life until, he grew up. When he lost her and then he lost his child that was on the way, he didn't know how to process that. His whole life, he didn't know how to process grief. Obviously, he's seen it happen. He was the one who found his own aunt not well. He didn't know what to do with those emotions. He always felt like the people that he loves, he loses. So like he weighs his love by how much it will hurt if he lost them. And that's not a good way to think, but that's how he processed everything. And he also felt like, how I said, Yasmin was going down. I can't go down with you. We can't both go down. I have to stay afloat. I have to drive the boat. I have to drive the car. I have to make sure that we're good. Because if I go down, then we're gonna be broke. We're not gonna be able to afford this beautiful house we have. We're not gonna be able to afford this restaurant we have, and paying the employees and all other things that Yasmin wasn't really worried about. When Yasmin was going through her grieving process, she wasn't working. He had to do all of that stuff. So that's kind of like why I sided with Josiah a lot of the time, because I felt like in certain instances, like, he was right. His feelings were valid as well. And as a person who doesn't know how to process grief either, I kind of felt that. Like, I kind of felt not crying when people pass away and just like not knowing what to do. Like, of course it's sad. Of course it bothers you and it's an unpleasant feeling. But like, I can't let my whole life go down the drain because I'm sad. Another thing I did not like about Josiah though is that he got with Vashti as a rebound. He didn't even like that girl for real. I mean, he likes her, but like, she wasn't Yasmin. And he kept saying that. He kept saying, she's not Yasmin, she's not this, she's not that. And like, that goes into my next point about how much he admired his ex-wife. I mean, like, y'all, get you a man like Josiah who like, yo, his descriptions of her are like perfect. Like, literally in his eyes, Yasmin is the perfect female. She's the perfect woman for him. He's like, I'm made for her, she's made for me. Like, everything about her is just beautiful. Her hair, her lips, her body, her hips, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's at a point where like later on in the book, she was feeling a little bit insecure about her body. He was like, your body is beautiful. Like, this is the body that gave me my children. Oh, wait. He was like, Deja, Kasim, and Henry. And you know how she's very soft in the heart about Henry, because like, Henry's not here with us. But like, the fact that you're acknowledging that shows growth. And I'm gonna tell y'all why he's had such growth. Like, his character development was just great. Like, I loved it because in their marriage, Yasmin was seeing a therapist, and you know, she was trying to get better and stuff, and she's very heavy on therapy, and he just refused to go. She considered and talked to him about couples therapy and stuff like that to see what they could do about their marriage, get some counseling, and he was just straight up against it. He's like, what are they gonna do for me? Like, they're just gonna sit here and let me spill all my business out to them, blah blah blah. It doesn't help nobody, it's pointless. But they went to a PTO meeting, you know, parent teacher conferences, and the teachers stated that Kasim was writing in their journal, because they used to have like journal entries and stuff for the class, and he would be writing in his journal entries that he was like scared of losing people and like death and stuff like that. And the teacher was very concerned about it and suggested that he see a therapist. In order to get Kasim to be motivated to go see a therapist, he set himself as an example to go to a therapist as well, to make his son feel more comfortable seeing a therapist. And that is a good father. That is a good father. Like, everything, like, I don't know, Josiah is just a great man. I don't care, y'all. He does have his flaws, but you know that in his heart he means well. And even though he did not believe in therapy, even walking in that John, he went for his son. And throughout seeking therapy and talking to his therapist more, he was able to definitely deal with his traumas, sit with his emotions, realize certain things about himself that he didn't before, or like, you know, finally admit things that he thought he would take to the grave. And it made him become a better person. But the therapist definitely helps him figure out that he hasn't cried in a while, and he didn't know how to process grief. But going back to how he just describes his ex-wife and stuff like that, you could tell that he's deeply in love with her and he don't want nobody else. And like throughout the book, like the book is pretty long for them to get back together, or even like have a simple interaction that is more than platonic. It takes a minute, and I'm just like, bro, stop playing around. Like, we're adults. Go get your man, go get your girl. What's the hold up? It's not like nobody's holding y'all up except for Vashti. He was with Vashti for a minute, and that was kind of in the way. But once him and Vashti broke things off, I'm just like, all right, so what's stopping you? And you, Yasmin, what's stopping you from making a move? Because sometimes you just gotta make it known. Because like, you're the one who wanted the divorce. He never wanted the divorce. He still loved his wife dearly. So it's up to you to make the move, for real. He needs the reassurance, because he's in his brain thinking about, he's replaying that night 50,000 times in his head, like, she do not want me. So I was just wondering, like, what's taking so long? What's taking so long? It was a slow burn, but it was worth it. It was worth the wait, I'm not gonna lie. The therapy definitely allowed him to realize that he did want to try things over with Yaz, and he was so adamant about not letting her get him that way again. Like, I can't let her have me in that way like she did before, because I don't know if I'll be able to survive that again. I don't know if I'll be able to go through another breakup with her. But like, you love her, you can't get over her, you tried to move on, you broke it off with the other girl. It's like, go get your woman, go get your soulmate back. They're literally soulmates. And in relationships, you go through problems, you go through breakups, you go through makeups, you go through really, really bad arguments, but that doesn't mean give up. Like, marriage is not supposed to be perfect. I feel like they thought marriage is supposed to be perfect, and once they faced a really big obstacle, I'm not even gonna say they, but once Yasmin faced a really big obstacle, she decided to give up. But like, when you choose a life partner, you say till death do us part. If you don't mean that, you don't need to be putting that ring on nobody's finger. Y'all need to at least try to do something. Although how he felt was valid, like, he was still heartbroken about it. They never had closure. They never talked about their feelings and why she did the things that she did and said the stuff that she said. And she never got like his point of view. It just made things worse. But therapy was a GOAT, because like I said, it helped him realize that he wanted Yaz back, but it also helped him cry again for the first time in like 5,000 years, y'all. And he cried because he was just thinking about how he lost his mom and lost Bird and he lost Henry, and then he lost his wife. And even though he had such a grudge towards her, this is what he said: I fall in love with a warrior woman who walked through fire, the one who came through stronger, reshaped by sorrow, reformed by grief, and reborn in joy. Is that not beautiful, y'all? That he said something like that. I know it's Kennedy writing, but like, Josiah said that about his ex-wife, a warrior woman in everything under the sun that he just loves about her, and he can't lose that again. You lost everybody in your life, everybody near and dear to you in your life, and you have a chance to get one of them back. What's the holdup? That's my evaluation on Josiah. And now I have some things that had me like riled up in the book, things that made me cry, things that made me like upset, things that had me geek. Like, I already talked about this briefly, but when Josiah got a new girl and she worked at the restaurant, I'm just like, be professional, be so for real. This is what you want to do. So now y'all in front of Yasmin all the time because this is y'all place of business, and you're kissing up on the chef. And I don't think he even did that with malice or ill intention. Like, he wasn't trying to make Yasmin jealous. He was genuinely trying to move on. But like, the way he went about it was just, that was not the right way to do it. If you wanted to find a girl to move on to, go somewhere else. And Yasmin was all up in their business, y'all. She saw Vashti in her man's shirt. That would have just been, why are you here? Why am I going to my man's house and you're in my man's clothes? I was astonished when I read that. I was like, who's there? I already knew. I was kind of like expecting it. And I know that was her boyfriend or whatever. They was together. So she had every right to be there. But it's just like, that's engraved in my mind. Because now I know what you're doing with my man. Another thing. Josiah bringing Vashti to Thanksgiving. That, you don't bring nobody to Thanksgiving unless that's about to be your little, that's about to be your, you brought Vashti to Thanksgiving at your ex-wife's house. I mean, it's both of their house, but still, to their house with her mother there and her kids and then some. So now her mother is looking at her like, that's your ex-man with a new girl in your house in front of your kids. And what like really killed my vibe is that Yasmin invited her. And Yasmin didn't even want to invite her. She was just trying to be nice. But I'm like, girl, you being too nice. Because I would have let Vashti have Thanksgiving at her family's house. What? Like, if you don't see yourself lasting with somebody, why would you invite them to Thanksgiving and meet your in-laws and stuff? That's beyond me, y'all. Fast forward a few, they have a restaurant and they're looking to expand the restaurant, right? To another location, make more revenue, etc., etc. And there is a couple selling their restaurant storefront in North Carolina. They met up with some people, whatever. They took a trip down there, and instead of having 2 rooms booked for them to stay, there was only 1 room booked. This irritated me so bad because they made such a big deal about sharing a room. The room had 1 bed and also I think like a pull-out couch. Bro, if it was that serious, literally one of y'all sleep on a pull-out couch and the man can sleep on a pull-out couch, because what? You do not need the bed. They were like, oh my God, this can't be. This can't be. This is a mistake. I can't do it. I can't stay with. I'm like, girl, be for real. If that were me, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. If that were me, I would have been super geeked, super excited, because like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I would not hesitate to go on that trip, especially knowing I want my man back. I wouldn't hesitate to go on that trip. And if I found out it was only 1 room booked and we had to stay in a room together, now we can talk. Now we can stop acting like we don't see each other for real. We can stop acting like we don't want each other for real. There's so much stuff that needs to be said, and we can't be avoidant in the same room. What? I would have tried to make my move then. But see, she wasn't thinking big. She was thinking small. She was being scared. She was being a coward. You can't be a coward when you want your man back and you're the one who broke it off. This is your chance. This is your time to shine. On the outside, I would have been like, oh, wow, like, we have to stay in the same room. But in my head, I was like, we gotta stay in Next is when Josiah and Yaz became sneaky links. Now, this is after staying with each other in the hotel. That's when the whole thing started happening. You know, in the hotel, he was like, we're only gonna do this 1 time and never again. Use a lie. You know this is not happening 1 time. Especially the way they was describing it. Y'all know that's not a 1-time thing. Y'all know y'all in love. So they came back. And they came back again. And again and again and again. So they became sneaky links. But what really blew me is when Josiah set all these ground rules about how this is not nothing serious and we're not gonna have no strings attached. And if either of us decide that we want to break things off, then that's okay. If we decide that we want to move on and go see other people, that's also okay. No, it's not, sir. And she was like, okay, like a yes man. Like in her brain, she's like, I'm gonna take this man any way I could get him. I was like, at that point, it gave desperate. My girl hasn't been with nobody for 2 years, so she was just like, if I could have my husband back for a couple hours, I'll do it. So I'm gonna let her rock. But them rules really blew me. I'm like, you're about to be sneaky links with the love of your life, and then you want to set all these rules like you don't be dreaming about her. You gonna set all these rules like you didn't break up with that girl day of Thanksgiving because you still in love with your ex-wife, and you're gonna tell your ex-wife, I don't want no strings attached. I understand you're hurt. She hurt you and you're traumatized. But let's be grown. You know you're not about to find nobody else, especially after sleeping with her all these times, falling in love with her more and stuff. Let's just be honest. Let's just say, let's start over. There was no need for all of that. Cause you talking about if we move on, if we want to break it off, no strings attached. I want you. Are we gonna do this the easy way or the hard way? I likes you and I want you. And he knew them rules was not about to last long. He knew he couldn't even follow them rules. So it was just no point in all of that. They also needed to get a hold of that daughter of theirs, Deja. Oh yeah, she has a mouth on her. She has a smart mouth, and she be in grown folks' business too much. And I saw a girl on TikTok talking about that too, and I 100% agreed with her because she was like, her kid was very disrespectful the entire book. I understand that you're upset that your parents went through a divorce and she's processing it in her own way, but being disrespectful to your mom is just mad weird to me. You don't even know what happened, for real. You don't know why they divorced. You don't know if it was mutual. You don't know. You're literally a child. And in present day, she's only 14. So at the time that it happened, you were 12 or 11. She was so rude. She was so nasty and so rude. So nasty and so rude. And what really gagged me is how Deja found out her parents were sleeping together. She was very upset about it. And in that moment, they had to break it to their daughter that this is what's going on. We might try to start over. We might not. I don't know yet. We're just trying to take things slow. And she's like, no, mommy doesn't deserve you. She broke up with you. She caused this to happen to our family. Blah, blah, blah. It's her fault. She doesn't deserve you. Hello? Who are you talking to? He's like, relax. We're not talking about your mom like that. And she heard all of it. And that's when they had to have a sit down and be like, I messed up. Yes, I did divorce your father, but I was going through it. Nobody understood that. The thing about their whole miscommunication that really bugged me is that he couldn't understand why she broke up with him when she was clearly grieving and wasn't thinking straight, and she couldn't understand that he doesn't grieve the same way she does. The whole thing was because of miscommunication. So she was explaining that she messed up and stuff like that, and that she did want her father back, and she admitted that in that moment. But it was just the fact that you have to explain this stuff to your daughter is just weird. There's certain things that a child doesn't need to know about y'all's relationship. And the fact that she had an opinion on their relationship kind of was weird to me. She heard the arguments, but you don't really comprehend. You just hear a bunch of yelling, you hear keywords, and they're sticking to you, but you don't know what caused these arguments. You don't know what issues they're dealing with within their relationship to even formulate an opinion. Put your child in check. They never put that girl in check. And Yasmin, every time Deja had a smart remark to her, or was just being extremely disrespectful, Yasmin would just take it on the chin. Like, she would just be like, I wish I had a good relationship with my daughter, but like, girl, you also need to tell her, like, this is not that. I'm still your mom, and you still have to respect me. I just wanted her to stay in the child's place. She was a child, not even a teenager, she was a child. So she needed to stay in the child's place. And the last thing that had me a little riled up is when Yasmin decided to lay everything out on the table. She said, listen, I like you and I want you. I understand I messed up. I was going through something. 1,855 days, I was going through something. I'm ready to fix it. I'm ready to put everything aside. I'm ready to start over. I want to have a family with you, even if that means adopting. I want to start life over with you again. And she even said, listen, if you don't think I love you, ask me. Ask me right now. I know I couldn't answer your question 2 years ago when you asked me, do you love me anymore? But ask me, bro. Ask me right now. It never stopped. My heart never stopped beating for you. And she was like, I do love you, Josiah. And he stood there and he didn't say it back. That girl put her heart on a platter and handed it to him. And he basically smacked it out her hand. And I'm like, isn't this what you was waiting for? Isn't this what you wanted? Isn't this the truth that you wanted to come out? They had plenty of talks. Well, not plenty, but they had a talk in North Carolina about their feelings, about what happened that night, about her mental state and her mental health. They had a talk. They had a talk prior to her admitting that she loved him still. They had a talk with Deja and she admitted that she wanted him back and she made a mistake. What more reassurance do you need? I was like, oh my gosh, like, I felt the humiliation she felt. My girl was too sad that whole day. But after that day, after that conversation, he went right to his therapist's office. That's when he let out his first tear. That's when he came to the conclusion that, like, I'm gonna try to make this work again. And he went back and he told his girl he loved her too. And that he was moving in. Because she was like, I want you to come back home. And he was like, you want me to come back to the place you threw me out of? Yes. Yeah. I just said that. I just said I want you to come back home. So, like, why did you even have to bring that up? He was being very emotional in that moment. And honestly, like, his emotions are valid. I'm not faulting him for how he felt. It was just like, y'all know y'all both want this. So I was just trying to figure out what was taking them so long. Why were they so hesitant? So those are the things that had me riled up. And some themes that I noticed within the book are resentment. They both had some type of resentment towards each other. More so Josiah resented Yasmin because of that tragic night when they divorced. He played it back in his head so many times even the point where, like I just explained, how she poured out all her feelings to him and he still didn't believe her because he was so stuck on the past and how hurt he was when he still deeply loved his wife and still wanted to make things work and was like, are you even sure this is what you want? He was hurt from that. He resented her from that. And just think about, like, you get on bended knee and you ask this girl, will you marry me? You get her a ring, y'all have a beautiful wedding, y'all have kids and this, that, and the third, and you just loving life with her. Even when she's down and depressed and out, you're still loving life with her, and she's just like, let's shut this down. You're like, okay, but let's wait, let's try to think things through. I still want to make this work. And she's like, no, I don't. You don't even want to try? No, I don't want to try. I can't do it. So you don't love me no more? I don't even know. Imagine that. Then we have themes of longing. And this is pretty obvious. They both longed for each other. They both yearned for each other. They also both longed for a family. You know, more additions to their family, especially with losing Henry And I feel like this theme goes more for Yasmin because she wanted another child so bad. Like, it was like desperate. And then like when she didn't have her man anymore, she longed to have her man. She wanted him so bad that she even agreed to be sneaky links with him and said, even if we never get back together, or even if he doesn't even want me back for real, he can have me this way. She still yearned for that deep connection that they used to have. She could feel it still there, but it just wasn't like, it was kind of a taboo topic. We're not even going to talk about that. And then love and partnership. It was clear that they loved each other. It was clear that they loved being business partners. It was clear that they loved co-parenting. Kudos to them for real, because a lot of people can't coexist with each other and cooperate the way they did after breaking up. Like, it's just too much to handle, too much weight. I can't see you every day. I can't see you with another person, and I have to go to work with you, and I have to take care of these kids with you. But they did that with the power of love, y'all. Love for their kids, love for the business they created, their secret love still for each other, and they had an amazing partnership. Even people around them were just in awe about how they were still able to make things work despite being divorced. And I was very impressed too. Like, they were going to soccer games together, basketball games, therapy sessions, events for the job. It was just like, are y'all even divorced? Like, y'all are always together, but like, it don't seem like it. Nothing really changed on the outside. The relationship status changed, but like, to the public eye, nothing's really changed. And I really like that. That is my analysis of basically like the story itself. And I just wanted to talk about Kennedy Ryan's writing style and how much I really loved it. This is the first Kennedy Ryan book I've ever read, because like, I've been seeing so many people on TikTok talking about the book, like, this is such a great book. And my favorite book ever, until I find a new book that really tops it, is 7 Days in June. And it does capture both male and female perspectives as well, and gives us flashbacks, which I really love. But people were saying on TikTok, if you loved 7 Days in June, then this is another great book. They're both stories of second chance romance. And I was just like, let me give it a shot, because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, when I went to the store, the book is very appealing from the cover. But when I read the back, I'm like, divorced lovers. Like, I don't really wanna, I don't know why, y'all, but I just did not feel compelled to buy the book. I didn't feel like it was something that I was gonna like, and I would always walk past it and I wouldn't pick it up. But when I seen the girlies on TikTok talking about good black books to buy, must read, must read, must read, and this was always in the picture, especially next to my 7 Days in June, I had to go get it. And they were absolutely right. She is extremely descriptive. It makes you feel like you're living in the story, and she captures emotion so well. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, I cried a couple of times reading this book, just how overwhelmed I felt with like emotion, like happiness or like sadness, or just like glad to see some progress with their relationship, and just in being able to relate with certain parts of the book, I definitely shed a couple tears. I personally love her writing, and I would definitely love to read more books by her. And I know that she's supposed to have another book. Oh, wow. Yo, I didn't even see this, but she has the whole recipes in the back of the book. Isn't that fire? That just made the book 10 times better. Because didn't I just say, I wish I could taste the food? Now I could taste the food for real. She has discussion questions too. Should I answer some of the discussion questions with y'all? Actually, let me finish. Well, I did finish describing how her writing style made me feel. I would definitely love to read more of her books, and I do know that she's supposed to be having a book coming out this year. It says something about a book coming out in 2024, early 2024. It's early 2024, so we should be expecting a book. But let's see what discussion questions I can answer from the book, because this is very good. This is very good. Some of them I already answered. Like this one says, did you understand Yasmin and Josiah's rationale for keeping their affair a secret at first? Do you agree with their reasons? Keeping a secret in terms of like telling their friends and stuff, yes, I agree with, because you can't get too excited about things and start telling people, because that's when it goes wrong. But keeping it a secret from their kids, I just felt like was unnecessary. Like, why are you hiding around from your kids? That made no sense to me. I'm just like, if they have any questions, it's just like, bro, this is your dad. It's not like I'm bringing a random man home or I'm bringing a random girl home. It's like, bro, this is your dad and we're trying to make things work again. Simple as that. Like, I just would have kept it a buck with my kids. Like, listen, your dad and I decided that we might want to try to work things out again. We don't know how things will go, but you know, at least we're trying. And then another one that I kind of answered already is, were Josiah's initial fear and skepticism when Yasmin asked him to come home justified? How did they make you feel? They were justified a little bit, but like at the same time, no. Like, she's been going to therapy, she's been seeing people, she's been taking her medicine. It's been 2 years, she's grown. You've seen that she's grown and that she's become a better person, more stable mentally, and you're still skeptical. She's literally like, why would she lie about wanting you to come back home? Why would she lie about loving you still? And then what really like was like a slap in the face to me is when all of this happened, because, you know, they were having an affair and she thought she was pregnant, and she went to go get a pregnancy test and she wasn't pregnant, but it made her realize that she still wanted to add on to their family, and she only wanted to do that with him. And he was like, oh, so since you had a pregnancy scare, now you want me back, and now you want a family with me and stuff and blah blah, and I'm supposed to want you back because you had a pregnancy scare? I'm like, that was such, like, he was being a jerk. That was such a terrible response. I don't feel like that was justified. I just feel like that was rude. She was really letting it, like, she was just really letting you know. She's been keeping all of this in her heart, in her brain for so long. Like, she had to finally let you know. Especially if y'all are gonna continue to be sneaky links. Like, I have to tell you how I feel before I drive myself crazy. And if you don't want to continue doing this with me, that's okay. We'll just break it off. We could do one more. The last question I'm gonna answer is, there is some debate about what makes a romance novel and how it should end. If Yasmin and Josiah had decided not to remarry, but took a page from Ken and Mary's book, would you consider it a happily ever after? Did you agree with their decision? So, to my knowledge, Ken and Mary are the couple that own the restaurant that they're selling in North Carolina. And they've been together for many years, but they decided not to be married. Like, they weren't putting labels on it. They weren't putting a ring on it. They just wanted their relationship to be solidified by their love, if that makes sense. Like, their boyfriend and girlfriend forever. Let's go back to the question. It said, did I agree with that? No. Do I agree with being with somebody and not putting a ring on it? Absolutely not. Because I am a girl who believes heavily in marriage. I grew up in a household where my parents are married. They're solidified. They got the rings and everything. And I want the same thing for myself, and I want the same thing for other Black women. It's not even like a status symbol thing for me. It's just like, it's more reassurance that you want to do life with me, like, forever. Like, boyfriend and girlfriend, I can break up with you at any point and then move on with my life. Like, marriage it's deeper than just the papers and the ring. And the fact that they think that way as well, it kind of really, I was very proud, because for a second I did think that they were going to go that route when they decided that they wanted to try again and make things work. I thought that they were going to take the Ken and Mary route and just be lovers. But when he said, "Will you marry me again?" and gave her the little necklace of the wheel, because he gave her a necklace before that said "till the wheels fall off," and the wheel definitely fell off, but he gave her a wheel this time. I was just like, because a wheel keeps spinning and it keeps spinning and it keeps spinning, and I loved that. So would I consider that a happily ever after if they did it that way? I mean, I guess, like, I mean, at least they're together, but I would have been a little bit disappointed in them, because I know that they believe in marriage, and them deciding not to get married again showed that they still had some skepticism about their relationship, and they didn't think that it was going to work for that long. So them deciding to get married again kind of showed that they felt like this second chance is going to be the last chance, and that they were going to make it work no matter what. I'm kind of glad that she had these questions in there. Definitely helped me out. But a lot of these questions, although I was kind of all over the place with this little book review, I answered some of them. So overall book rating, I give it since I give 7 Days of June a 10 out of 10, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. It was still a good book. I don't really, what can I say, flaws about the book were probably how long it took for them to stop playing. But if we're being realistic, like in real life, things don't just happen at the snap of a finger too. So, you know, she took it day by day, week by week, and I guess it makes the book a lot more realistic. Either way, I still enjoyed it. I give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and I will recommend it to everybody. It's definitely up on my recommendation list with 7 Days in June. I just felt like just because you broke things off with your lover doesn't mean that y'all's story is over. A lot of the times people don't believe in second chances. They be like, no second chances. If it didn't work the first time, you need to go find you another man, blah, blah. But like, not everybody's story is the same. Sometimes you gotta go back to that man. Sometimes things don't work out the first time because there are things within yourself that you need to fix on your own time and then come back. Sometimes it's right person, wrong time, and I feel like this book was definitely right person, wrong time. They definitely both needed time to heal before they came back together, and that's probably why it took so long. But I feel like it'll only make the relationship stronger and healthier going forward. And she was saying that, like, within any battles from this point on, she's gonna stand with him, because, you know, when she was going through her grief, he was facing those battles alone, battles that like they were in the same battle, but they was on opposite sides. Like, he was over here and she was over there, when they need to be standing together and fighting together as a couple. She said, from this point going forward, I'm standing with you. I'm doing everything with you. I got your back and you should have mine. And all I could say was period. I really, really, really enjoyed this book, and I am super excited to read more by Miss Kennedy Bryan. And with that being said, I'm going to introduce my February book of the month. I did not know what I wanted to read for February, but I posted a video showing a couple of books that I have, but I have not read yet because I have a book buying obsession. And a lot of people in the comments were saying that this specific book was going to give me a run for my money. It's just crazy. It's a lot going on. It's such a good read. And I was like, say less. Drum roll, please. My February book of the month is going to be You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. Everybody was telling me to read this book. This book has been all over TikTok for the Black girls, and I need to join the hype. Now, I already started reading this book. I have a bookmark in it. What chapter did I start at? I'm gonna start over. Look, I have a bookmark in the middle of the chapter, but I can recall some of the stuff I already started reading, and the book started off on a crazy foot. Yeah, I read up to chapter 4, and I was already taken aback in the first chapter. I said, girl, but I'm definitely gonna start over so I can have a fresh memory about, you know, things that happened in the book, and also so that I can take notes in chronological order so that I can get better at my book reviews. So that is all for today's video. Please let me know how you guys felt about the book. If you finished it, did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you hate? What was your favorite part? I would love to know. Also, let me know how I did for my first book review. I was very nervous to do this video because, like I said, this is my first time doing a book review and my first time including books and other things that I love onto my channel. So, but I'm definitely excited to continue doing this and getting better at reviewing books and annotating them and all of that stuff. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for my next video, and share this video with a friend and tell them to help me get to 20K because we're on the road to 20K, y'all. Also, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Adia Monet. That is also my TikTok and my Pinterest as well. And if you want to buy these books and don't know where to get them because I don't even think that they're in Target anymore, I have them all listed. My whole book collection is on my Amazon storefront. Literally, y'all. Every book I want, every book I have is on my Amazon storefront. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, guys.